5 little boys in South Carolina devised what they thought would be the greatest of pranks. Near their neighborhood, there was a black church with a wooden floor. And one of the little boys somehow found out that these colored people danced so much in church that there were holes in the floor. And so those 5 decided that one Wednesday, while the church was having service, they would ride their bicycles down there and get into the crawl space underneath the church. And one of them had in his book bag a jar filled with bees. And it would be his job to shake up the jar, unscrew its lid, and hold the jar up to one of the holes in the floor of the black church. The plan was executed with precision. In came the bees, out went the worshipers, and after the dust had cleared, 5 little white boys rode back to their neighborhood, laughing at the top of their lungs. They didn't know that the pastor never left the church, but that he saw them riding away, and while 4 of them he could not identify, he recognized one of them. The next day, the little boy who released the bees was playing in his yard when his daddy came home from work. And his daddy told the story he had heard about somebody releasing bees into a worship service at the colored church down the road. And he asked his little boy if he knew anything about that. And the little boy told his story to his father, laughing the whole way through. 3 mornings later on Sunday, the family was headed off to church. They got into the car as usual, pulled into the parking lot of the Southern Baptist Church where they'd gone for decades. Mama and the other kids got out, and Daddy told the beekeeper to stay in the car. As he pulled out of the parking lot and back on the road, he said, "My friend who works down at the Navy Yard with me is a preacher, and I'd like to go in here and preach today. I want you to go with me, son." Oh, I must be some kind of special. Daddy's going to take me to be with him in another church. Maybe we'll go down to the Presbyterian church. I know Daddy's got a lot of friends over there. Or we'll probably go to the Methodist church. They built a new church on Savannah Highway, so that ought to be fun. But can you imagine his horror when Daddy pulled into the dusty parking lot of the Missionary Baptist Church? The beekeeper could hear the choir singing from inside. It sounded like they were stomping more holes in the floor. And his daddy opened the door and sat down at the outer edge of the back pew, left side. And when his son tried to squeeze past him, the father said, "No, son, you have a special seat. Your seat is up there next to the pastor." And the little boy begged his daddy to reconsider. But in the 30s and 40s, it was awkward enough for a white man to bring his little white son into a black church. And he gave his son the look that said, "You don't want to have this conversation right now." And so the little boy took a long, slow walk to the rickety chair on the platform of the Colored Baptist Church that he attended from below just 4 days earlier. The Missionary Baptist Church was nothing like the Southern Baptist Church. The preacher did not wear a watch, and he didn't care if anybody else did. And for the 2 longest hours of his life, he sat on the platform looking into a sea of black faces and one white face staring him down. And once the preacher finished his sermon, the beekeeper's daddy got up and walked to the center aisle. And he stopped right in front of the pulpit, and he turned around and he said to the congregation, "Neighbors, I understand that on Wednesday night you had a bee problem. I heard about it at work on Thursday, and then I heard the same story Thursday night when I got home. And I want to say to you that I am sorry. You are Christians, and we are Christians, and we don't treat one another like that." The beekeeper, still sitting up on the platform, wished that the holes in the floor would open up, and then a hole in the ground would open up, and that he would fall into both of them, never to be seen again. And he nearly fainted when his daddy said, "I'd like to introduce you to the beekeeper, my son." I'll let my grandfather finish his own story.
He says, "I don't know about these other white families, but my children don't do that. Oh, sit down and beat me for.
Oh,
But
man.
he was right. He was right. Then my daddy made me buy the boards and fix the hole in the floor.
He made you fix the floor?
You got that right. He sat right there with me while I cut the new boards, put it in there, and nailed them down. So that is a true story, all right?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for giving me permission to share it.
You have permission to share it at any time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, son. I love you so much.
Love you too, Pepe. You have a great night.
You do the same.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that was how my great-grandfather taught my grandfather that there is no place for racism in the church.
Thank you.